Y'all miss me or what? I can't remember the last time I've sat in front of this camera. It's been at least maybe 7 to 6 years. Last time I uploaded was like back in 2019. A lot has changed. I know I made like a video 10 months ago, doing like a recap on what my life's been like. So I'm not going to get into what I've been up to. If you want to go check that video out, it's on my YouTube channel. But yeah. Today I'm going to be getting into a bit of a serious topic. It's not like extremely serious, but it's something that I feel like any person should be made aware of. Especially granted the fact that, that I'm still not over this situation. And I feel like making this video, basically I was dealing with this and I felt like making a video will bring awareness to those who might be going through this type of stuff. Sorry, I haven't been in front of the camera in years. So, the subject I want to talk about, and this is like an experience that I unfortunately had to go through, is a toxic connection that you should not entertain. So to recap, the beginning of 2026, I started talking to someone. I started to talk to this person, and it was actually a person I went to middle school with. Funny enough, never had a friendship with them, never talked to, and we became friends, well, thought we were friends in adulthood. And when I started talking to this person, this girl, let's just get that out of the way, this person was a girl. I had to, everything was going well. We started talking, we were getting to know each other, we started bonding over our common interests, but, we were talking, we had it started off as small talk, text every once in a while, and then we eventually started having deep conversations and talking about our life and just our goals and what we were trying to go for, and just getting to know each other, and bonding. So eventually, obviously I like meeting new people. I always want to see about hanging out with people, and getting to know them better. So I tried to coordinate doing a hangout with this person. And at first we had a hangout that was planned. It was scheduled. Everything we were ready to do that day and everything. And then a day or two before then, she blew off the hangout. Now you're going to kind of see where this is going as I talk about this. So she wanted to reschedule. I respond back and I'm like, sure, let's reschedule the hangout. But I would go a day or two on end of never hearing back from her. And to add insult to injury, when she was not responding to my text, she was actively viewing my Instagram stories. And yes, I'm not ashamed to say this. I check who views my fucking stories. I hope I don't get monetized for saying the F word. But I check my stories, I check who views them, and I can tell who's viewing them. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm 24 years old and I can admit that. I'm not ashamed. I'm sure everyone does it. But yeah, she would ignore my texts for days, leave me hanging for days on end when I'm trying to get back to her about trying to figure out a new day to hang out. And I would just get left with crickets. And I would have to reach out a third time just to get her attention, to get an answer. Sorry. Jeez. So from the very beginning, there was red flags talking to this person, having a friendship with them. Every time I wanted to coordinate doing a different hangout or trying to get a new hangout started, because she would always say, let's hang out this day. Are you off Saturday? Are you off Sunday? But then I would never hear back from that person, just for them to go and post on their Instagram or viewing my stories actively when they could easily go and check their text to see that, hey, I was texting you, you know. And again, it's the same thing where I had to text back a third time just to get their attention and get them to respond, because I wanted to hang out with them. So trying to just be honored, trying to do a hangout and stuff. So it was like this for a little bit. And the big thing I did was that I had to talk to her about this issue. I'm like, listen, you keep doing this to me. I don't like that. You know, what, I don't want to hurt, I don't want to come off rude or anything, but why are you doing that to me? Why are you ignoring my text for days when we're trying to figure out when to hang out? You know, then she would keep apologizing for it and keep making excuses about it. And I'm just like, okay, you know. So then we tried to hang out again, and same fucking issues. Ignored my text for days, would be active on social media but blowing me off, and I did not appreciate that. So this was ongoing, and I don't know why I was super naive and trying to keep connecting and trying to keep chasing this person. I wish I didn't. But you know, it sucks. It sucks. So this was going on for like a good month or two, where I was being blown off constantly, being kind of like just left little breadcrumbs, and eventually I just got fed up and over it, because it was getting extremely unhealthy. I was being left stressed, confused, anxious, all the feelings that you shouldn't feel when you're talking to a girl. You shouldn't feel this way when you're talking to someone. You have to know when to put your foot down and say, listen, I cannot do this anymore. It didn't end there though, unfortunately. Eventually it does end, but not there. So we ended up going a month not talking. We were not on speaking terms for like a whole month, because I basically had just cut ties with her the first time, because I'm like, I can't do this anymore. But then a tragedy happened very recently. One of my best friends, unfortunately, like passed away, and she eventually reached out to me to for condolences after not hearing from her for like a month. So I decided, because I'm a good person, that I would reach out and just basically reconcile, when I probably shouldn't have, because I did nothing wrong at the end of the day. You know, she was the one that kept letting me on and blowing me off and playing around, but I wanted to give it another chance. I'm like, okay, let's try this again. So we tried again. We tried to be friends, and we were bonding a lot. This time we actually were like intensely bonding a lot. And this is the part that really sucks about it, is that we were bonding a lot, but then the same issues arose. She went from being, it was this hot and cold behavior that I kept seeing. She was being very closed off with me, or she would be social with me. Almost like talking to me was like a convenience. She wanted me in like small doses. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever know what the issue is there. I don't know what is going on that end, but it was not getting better. It went from everything was feeling good, this could work out this time, and then it just kept happening again. She started to blow off anytime I wanted to hang out with her, to not wanting anything to do with me. She went from talking to me for like days to weeks on end, and we ended up having a lot in common. We actually like really got to connect, and then she just completely just vanished, like in and out of my life type of deal. So I kept putting myself out there. I kept trying to be a better friend to her, or trying to be a friend to her, because I wanted it to work out this time. But she kept taking advantage of my kindness. Anytime I wanted to do a hangout with her, she would blow me off. She kept doing this constantly. This was like a repetitive thing that she kept doing. You know, I wanted to do a simple hangout with her. You know, she was telling me how she wanted to get into Star Wars. So I'm like, okay, let's hang out and watch Star Wars. Let's go and watch a sunset, and then let's go and then hang out and watch Star Wars. Because she wanted to get hooked on Star Wars, of all things. And she blew me off literally the next day, just for her to go out and party with her friends late at night and never get back to me about when she wanted to hang out again. So that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I had to stand up for myself, and I confronted her about it. This time, this was for the final time. This was the final time that I wanted to go through this again. I wanted it to be the fucking final time. Again, excuse my language. So I confronted her about it and told her, I'm done. I can't do this anymore, because dealing with all this is emotionally and mentally exhausting. I keep trying to connect with you. I want to hang out with you, but every time I do, you want to keep blowing me off. You keep finding excuses to get out of hanging out with me. And I literally just said straight up, if you don't want to hang out, then be honest with me. Don't lie to me and string me along and say you're going to commit to something, then to completely flake on me the next day. And she did this more than once. You know, it's like, okay, one or two times, okay, I get it. We're busy people, something came up, but she was doing it all the time. And then again, the hot and cold behavior, where like we were talking a lot to then I would barely hear from her at all. It would have to be me reaching out, and I wouldn't hear back from her until like a day later, or much later in the day, or not at all, sometimes not at all, while she's proceeding to be active on social media. You know, huge red flags. I'm sorry, those are red flags to me. If you disagree, you disagree. I don't care. That's a red flag for me. But I said my piece and I walked away. Of course, she had to keep making excuses and kept trying to like say all this stuff. And then she was trying to sympathize with how I was grieving over my best friend. Obviously, I didn't say anything back, but what I really would say is, yeah, I'm grieving, and you say you want to be there for me. If you wanted to fucking be there for me, then you would have shown that you cared, and you didn't care. Because after I sent that text and how she was being all sympathetic and saying I want to still be there for you, she never even once tried to reach out to see how I was doing and try to apologize, or at least show that she cared. What does that tell you? So obviously, you know, this is still very raw for me. I'm still a little messed up from it. I'm to the point that I had to make this video so I can put awareness out there for any guy that goes through what I went through and is talking to someone and you know the connection's unhealthy. If I had any advice for any guy that's out there, or, you know, vice versa, guy or girl, girls can go through this stuff too, where it's the guy on the opposite end doing the same thing. So if you're a guy or girl going through this and you're noticing all these flags, walk away. Don't do what I did and keep entertaining the connection and giving that person unnecessary attention when they're not giving you their attention fully, and you're just a secondary convenience, your second priority, your convenience. You don't deserve that. I want people to know that you're not alone in this. If you've gone through this, you're not alone. I've been through this. Unfortunately, I had to go through it very recently, not once, but twice. This was a back and forth toxic connection I had to deal with. Am I glad that it's over? Yeah. But I'm still mentally messed up about it because there were small moments where I did like being friends with her. It's not like she was a cold person all around, but sometimes I feel like that was a facade. She was putting on a facade. You know, if you're in my shoes, you would understand. I don't have to go into details with what I mean. I don't have to. That is something I don't need to get into detail about. So unfortunately, there was red flags from the very beginning, talking to this person, having to go through all this, being blown off, being taken advantage of, being ignored for days on end, and not being valued enough as a friend, and not knowing where I stood being friends with her. And she had her own friend group. I had my own friend group. Get it, you know. But being friends with her made me feel isolating, you know, because I wanted to hang out with her, and she was always out hanging out with her friend group, partying and all that shit. And I just didn't know where I stood being friends with her. And it messed me up. Then I'm still like mentally messed up from it. So, like I said, there was a lot of red flags from the beginning dealing with this person. And am I glad that it's over? Yeah. I'm glad I walked away. I'm glad I walked away for good and I was able to put this behind me. But I'm still not fully over it because of how toxic the friendship was. I'm still left confused, and there's still a small part of me that is thinking, like, did I make the right decision? Did I make the right call? Did I make the right choice to walk away? And I gotta keep telling myself I did, because I have to keep reflecting on all the stuff I had to go through and all the stress I had to go through being friends with this person, and how it didn't bring me peace. It brought me too much stress. And it should never feel like that when you're talking to a girl. I'm sorry, it shouldn't. If you're trying to connect with someone, it should feel calm. It should feel peaceful. You shouldn't feel stressed out all the time when you're talking to someone. You should feel at peace. So if there's any takeaway that anyone can get from what I went through, if you see the red flags, if the person that you're talking to is purposely blowing you off, they don't make any sort of arrangement, like any follow-up plans to hang out with you, if they're ignoring you for days on end, but they proceed to stay active on social media, or they string you along and keep saying they will commit to hanging out, then they don't, etc. If you're noticing any of these types of red flags, any of these things, walk away. Don't do what I did and entertain it for as long as I did. This was going on for at least a good 4 months. And I wish I had ended it sooner. And obviously, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to get over this. But it's going through something like this, as toxic as it was, it's not easy to get past. So I hope that the takeaway from this video is know your worth, know what you deserve, and don't put yourself out there for people who don't put any out for you. If they're not giving as much effort as you are, and you're the one constantly checking in, and you're the only one that's making any effort to hang out while they're blowing you off on purpose and stringing you on and blowing off any hangouts, or just by matters of ignoring your text, but then they proceed to stay active on social media within that same day and not respond to you at all, walk the F away. Get out of that, because you don't need that in your life. You know, you have to know your worth. I hope the takeaway from my experience is if there are red flags from the very beginning and you feel stressed from the very beginning, walk away. It's the healthiest thing you'll do. You'll be, if you don't do what I did and you just walk away immediately, you'll be fine. Okay, you're good. But for me, I walked away too late, which I'm still glad I did, but I'm still mentally getting over this situation. Other than that, this is all I have to say. And that's all I want to leave it to. I want to put this behind me for good. I just want to make this video to make awareness of the situation. Don't go through what I went through. You see any red flags, walk away, end it. Don't entertain it as long as I did. It's not worth it. There's someone out there for everyone, and you have to look for the right person. And unfortunately, this person, for sure as hell, was not it. And I'm glad that they're out of my life. And it's going to stay that way. So I hope the takeaway is know your worth and know what you deserve and treat yourself with respect. Take care of yourself, and self-care is everything. That is all I got to say. That's the end of this video. I hope this video helps out any person that has gone through what I went through. And I hope this video brings awareness. Have a good rest of your night. And I guess for old-fashioned sakes, bye jokers, peace out. Don't forget to subscribe. Deuces.